Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. Great to have you along. Today we're joined by head girls golf coach Kenneth Osler. And man, some great stuff to talk about as the state golf tournament next week. And you're going to have 3 girls attending.
Yeah, we're super excited. They've been working really hard and they're excited. This weather, unfortunately, making it hard this week, but I think they're ready.
Yeah, the weather's been an interesting thing, I would say. The last month, we've had some really, really wonderful weather, some low wind days too, which is kind of unusual for this time of year. But it's coupled with these 3 or 4 days where you just have these monsoons, it seems like, come in. So what's that challenge, late in the year like this when you want to be out on the course as much as you can?
Well, first year being in Oklahoma coaching golf, not used to the wind, not used to all the rain like we're getting out here. But I will say, the issue we're running into is like about the time the course gets dry, here comes another rain. And so the girls are just learning to adapt and play through it and understanding that like the courses are going to be wet, they're going to be muddy, and you have to play through those. Yeah,
no mud ball controversies like at the Masters.
No.
But talk about the difference in, naturally you're not going to go out and play in lightning. They'll play in some light rain, but talk about how much of a difference it is for those girls when they're playing on a course that's been relatively wet.
Yeah, so there's a lot of mental factors to it. The rain slows the ball down on the putting green, makes the ball not fly as far, and the girls just have to adjust to that. And so the nice part about it is when it is wet and it is raining, the courses do let us go out there and practice sometimes. And so the girls are used to that when we go to tournaments. And so the big difference is it's just them mentally getting tough and understanding they've got to tough it out through that rain.
Yeah, and sometimes choking down, playing a little safer is maybe the way to go when it's raining, right?
Yeah. We went to a regional preview a few weeks ago, and it was cold and wet and miserable. And they toughed it out, and they did a really good job. And so they know how to do it, and they're excited. And there's some chance for rain at state next week, but I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, and once again, 3 girls qualifying. Let's go through those girls and talk about how they did at the regional.
Yeah, so Kate Clark, she did her business, got in there, got out of there like she normally does, shot well. There was a couple holes, she wished she could get back, but I'm very proud of her.
When is there not a golf hole, when you play?
And that's the hardest part about teaching these girls is there's going to be a bad hole. It's what are you going to do with that next hole after that bad hole?
Ask Roy. Like I said, the Masters recently. I mean, he had a couple of bad holes, but a couple of good holes won it. So.
Ella, she's our consistent right in that mid and low 90s, always consistent, hits the ball straight all the time. She's ready to go. But I'll tell you, the big standout this year was Carly Nichols. Went out there and shot her best score of the year at a tournament, performed well. At one point, I was looking at I Want to Make Her how we watch the score, and I'm halfway around the course under the girl's hole, and I'm like, man, Carly's on like a little par streak here. And I was like, do I go talk to her or not go talk to her? And so I laid back and let her do her thing. But, man, she really stood out there. And so,
well, let's talk about the improvements that we've seen with this team throughout the year. And that's, as a coach, is the main thing you're always looking for. Mm-hmm. In golf, it's pretty obvious when you've improved. You can tell by your stroke count. And that's gone down considerably, right?
Yeah, so like our first tournament, we were like 415 at 420 range, not very good. And then we ended the year in the 380s. And so not where we wanted to get to as a team, but I think the girls moving on to next year understand the work has to happen for next year. And so they're excited. They did a great job. They put in the work when they needed to. And they learned from those days and they didn't put in the work. And so that's all you can ask for as a coach.
Yeah, and with golf, I feel like it's a little different at times because you can't maybe, you want to get out there and do something, I think, every day like every other sport. But also, it's still seen as a leisure type thing. Yeah. So sometimes you don't want to get out there and continue work, and just trying to make sure that they continue, even if it's just getting up and putting a little bit on a day. Just so there's something you can do every day to make yourself better.
Yeah, and so it's just teaching them, they understand the consistency. And so that's one thing we're going to push this off season is like, you can't put your golf clubs in the garage and wait till January to get them out and expect to go out shooting the 90s and 80s. You can't do it. And we had a girl that day at practice. She was like, oh, that's how you swing the club. Figured it out. She was really excited, and she's like, I never realized how easy it was, and she was smoking them down the driving range. But now it's just getting her to understand you got to do that the rest of the year and keep it up. And so if we can keep her consistent, that's what's going to be the big difference.
Yeah, and golf, that's like the key to golf consistency, right? Yeah. I mean, even your swing to what you do. I mean, everything. If you keep it consistent, you're going to be somewhat of a successful golfer. That's a lot harder than you think it is.
And you've talked to any other coach in the state, they're going to tell you what makes a good golf team is them wanting to be there, desiring to be there. And we have a good young group that wants to be out there. and they're excited to be there. And so I'm excited for the next season.
Well, and that said, you got this season, and you want your girls to go down there do have some success. But this will probably be the last time we talk to you for the year. So you start looking at next year a little bit, and you do got some young ones that you feel like are going to make some strides.
I do.
And what's good is they push the older ones as well.
Yeah, they do. And we got a young group coming up from the junior high that the junior high coach has talked highly about. He's excited about. We got some freshmen and sophomores there, but our juniors and seniors next year, they're really going to set the tempo, and they're already excited. They're already talking about next year. We're talking about the summer stuff we're going to do, and they're excited about that. And when your kids are coming off of a season and they're already to get into the summer stuff, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and let's talk about the summer stuff, because golf is so much more interesting and different than other sports. So do you have restraints? What kind of restraints do you have, I guess, over the summer, if any? And what is the plan for those girls to continue, maybe not with the result being better, but trying to stay where they're at?
Yeah, so the biggest thing you have is just the courses get packed with people, and so it's hard to get the girls out there. The nice part is a lot of them have memberships, so they can go play whenever they want. But our big goal this summer is just going to be making sure we have drills set up for them to do, stay consistent, chipping drills, putting drills. Everybody will go out there and they'll play 9 holes, and they'll have fun and they'll goof off. But it's being consistent with those putting drills and stuff. And with the indoor facility being opened up here soon, we're excited to have the simulator in there. And when it is raining, or if we have bad weeks and the weather's really, really hot and they don't want to get outside, they can get in there and practice. And so we're going to have a couple days a week where we're going to set some stuff up. Myself and Coach Mercer are going to get in there with them and just help them stay consistent.
What's that simulator going to be like? I mean, are you like, how does that work? I mean, we see the TGL now, right? Where they have actual holes and stuff. But how's it work? How's it going to work for you guys?
And so the big thing is it's going to help the girls understand their distance on their clubs, help them understand, hey, am I getting good contact and not getting contact? One thing we're trying to teach the girls right now is just because the ball goes straight doesn't mean it's the best contact you're getting. Correct. And just because the ball leaks a little right or left doesn't mean you didn't get good contact. And so the big plan this summer is going to be able to make sure that they understand what the club feels like when they're getting good contact. Is it rattling in my hand? No. Is it hurt? No. You'd be surprised how many golfers get out there and they're hitting bad shots. They look good, but they're not as far as the ball could go because they're not getting contact with the club. And that simulator is going to show them and teach them that feedback.
Well, and I think the other thing, too, is once you get in club distance, I mean, once you get where you're consistently hitting the ball straight, that next step is figuring out, how far is that 5-iron going to go? How far is that 9-iron going to go? And with that simulator, I mean, you can go on a golf course and see a little bit, even a driving range. But with that simulator, you hit 10 shots, you're going to have a cluster if you hit 10 good shots of how far that ball is going to be.
Yeah, and that really is a difference between a golfer that's going to be playing that low 100s as a girl versus getting into the low 90s, high 80s. Is consistency, obviously, but understanding how do my clubs work, how do I hit them, what do they feel like in my hands, and how far is this club's going to go? Am I going to overshoot the green by 20 yards and then I'm in trouble again? And so that stuff really matters.
Yeah, and go back to, we talked about a lot of coaches' restrictions during the summer. What restrictions does a golf coach have during the summer?
We have the same restrictions. There's a dead week and stuff we have to follow. Just got to make sure that we're staying within the laws the school has for us. But the big thing restriction-wise I'm worried about is making sure that the girls stay consistent but not burning themselves out.
Right.
And so that's the big thing. I know some girls, they'll go out there and I got one girl in particular that if I told her to go play every day, she'd go play every day. But the problem is come January, you're going to be over it.
Right.
And so that's when you want them in their stride. And so as a coach, just making sure that, we're not breaking any of the OSSA rules and making sure we're working inside those, but also allowing the girls to make sure they're getting proper practice.
Well, and I mean, I think that's an important thing, too. I mean, pro golfers, men and women, you listen to them, they talk about the importance of being able to step back at times and get away for a week or whatever, clear your head, and make you a better golfer. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a really important thing to be able to do. Now, it's a little harder for those pro golfers because there's so much money on the line week. But at the same time, for a high school golfer and for just a casual type golfer, being able to step away like that, it makes you enjoy it a little bit more.
It does. And the last thing I want for these girls to happen is when they reach their senior year, that they're so burnt out they don't play no more.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people that played sports in high school were really good at it, got to senior year, I don't want to do it no more, I'm going to burn out. And so my job as a coach is to make sure they're enjoying it, they're getting better, but also it's something they're going to enjoy the rest of their life.
Right.
And so we want to compete, we want to have fun, but we want to make sure that it's something they're not getting burnt out on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with golf. People of all other sports are playing this sport, but at the same time, if you learn to play it well at a young age, it's something you'll play. A lot of people I know will play right until they can't. Their body won't let them anymore. Sometimes, I mean, I got a great uncle. He's played, and he's 86 years old and still playing.
Yeah. And it's a great sport. If maybe you got a kid that's interested and not sure they're interested, best thing to do is take them to the driving range. Let them hit a ball a couple times. They'll know pretty quickly.
Well, and we have so many other things. Now you have the driving range, but you can go down to the city and get Top Golf and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways. And sometimes even just going and putt-putt.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We all know Happy Gilmore. How did he get good at putting? He went to the putt-putt, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how I got into golf. My grandpa took me putt-putt when I was younger, and I really liked it. But then baseball happened, and I didn't like baseball as much, and went to golf, and I was like, hey, this is more fun than putt-putt. Let's do this.
Yeah. So, even though it's always tough for the baseball players to get rid of that baseball swing.
I don't know. Sometimes they flow pretty naturally together. So some people argue that, some people don't. I've been convinced this year that there's a lot more to a baseball swing than there is a golf swing. Like, there's a lot.
Well, I like the ball stationary in golf. That ball moving in baseball makes a little bit of difference. Yeah. So, but anything else you want to get into before we get out of here today?
Yeah. If you got a junior high girl who's interested in playing golf, we need junior high girls. We need lots of them, and we have lots of spots open. I know Coach Swain, he's doing a great job teaching those girls down there. And so whether you got a lot of knowledge or little knowledge of the game, maybe you got a granddaughter, that has shown no interest, or maybe you got somebody that does it all the time, they're afraid to try out for school sports, have them come out and try.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do for your kids, regardless of the sport, is encourage them to try it.
Yeah.
You get to do this for 6 years max. That's it.
Well, and you'll do it the rest of your life. And one thing about golf that everybody knows, whether they play twice a year or whatever, you always have that one shot that keeps you coming back.
Yep.
Just like you have probably a dozen other shots that makes you say, I'm going to quit. But that one shot always keeps you coming back.
Yeah, that's true. And I can think of 3 shots in my life right now that I hit. And just, I was ready to quit, wrap a club around a tree, whatever, and I was just done. And then you hit those shots, and it's like, that's why I love sport.
You ever had a hole-in-one?
I have not. So
got to change that.
I have to. I would like to. I just don't get to play as much as I want to. So
right,
I get to coach a lot.
You're coaching a lot, but not playing. Yeah, I understand.
So.
And then if you did hit one, it's a good shot. It doesn't really count, right? Because you're showing somebody something probably, right? So, well, man, really appreciate the time, Coach.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Coach Kenneth Osler, and girls golf next week, state tournament. 3 girls qualified. Best of luck to them, and hoping to see them have some great success down there. I want to say thanks to Chris behind the camera. That's going to do it for today's Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff saying until next time, go Cats.